today, and then followed by Kirtan, Mahamantra for a few times. Krishna. Maduram Madurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harinameva Kevalam Abrahmastamba Paryantam Sarvam Mayamayam Jagat Satyam Satyam Punah Satyam Harinameva Kevalam Harinameva Kevalam Saguru Sapita Chapi Samata Bandhavo Pisa Sikchayet Chet Sada Smarta Harinameva Kevalam Nisvase Nehi Vishvasa Kadarundo Bhavishyati Kirtanyamato Balya Harinameva Kevalam Hari Sadavase Tatra Yatra Bhagavata Janaha Gayanti Bhakti Bhavena Harinameva Kevalam Aho Dukkham Mahadukkam Dukkha Dukkhatram Yata Kachatam Vesmritam Ratna Harinameva Kevalam Diyatam Diyatam Karno Niyatam Niyatam Vacha Giyatam Giyatam Nityam Harinameva Kevalam Vinikirtya Jagat Sarvam Rajate Sakalo Pari Chit Anandamayam Shuddha Harinameva Kevalam Harinameva Kevalam Harinameva Kevalam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the wonderful kirtan. This is really wonderful. Holy name, holy name, holy name is the everything. And especially to chant on the day of Ekadashi, these wonderful bhajans, and to read Bhagavad Gita. What could be a better thing in life to do, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji, especially sitting between the children and singing, it gives special feeling. So they were singing with me, and it means a lot. Hardly I get them with me together to sit along. So it was very nice opportunity. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Vinita and Athar as well for doing this wonderful bhajan. We'll just get started. Okay. Trying something new. Let's see if it will work. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangre Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Thank you to all the wonderful devotees for joining. I'm so grateful to all of you, for those who joined after a few minutes. Ravi Prabhu, Avni, Murli Prabhu, Android phone, Prabhuji, Mataji, Yashoda Mataji, Renu Mataji, Anita Mataji, Gandhi Prabhu, and if anyone else names I miss, Sudhir Prabhu, Aparna Mataji, Mohan Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you all so much for taking out your valuable time, and especially on this day of Ekadashi, which is also called Madhava Tithi. Madhava Tithi Bhakti Janani Bhajana Anukula. So what could be a better thing to do in life than to remember Krishna on these days? And what could be a better way to remember Krishna than talking about his holy name and talking about the Bhagavad Gita, which has come directly from the lotus mouth, from the lotus lips of Sri Bhagavan. So let's sing the Mangalacharan prayers before we start. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalayet Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful to all of you for taking out your valuable time. Today we will read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3. Before that, we can read one verse from Gita Mahatmya. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnana dine dine sakrit gita amritasnana sansara mala nashanam. Mala means dirt. Maline mochanam pumsam. All the living beings, we get entrapped with the dirt, right? Therefore, we take bath to purify the bodily dirt. If we don't take bath, then what will happen? We'll get disease, we'll smell bad, etc. But what about the disease of the material world? What about the dirt of the material world? Like lust, greed, envy, pride, illusion, darkness, ignorance. How do we purify that? Sakrit Gita Amritasnana, by taking baths regularly in the nectarian Ganges like river of Bhagavad Gita. Samsara Malanashanam, it will purify us of the impurities of this samsara, referring to this material world. So with that, we'll start. Anyone remembers what we studied last time? Any idea, any thoughts?
Hare Krishna devotee. Prabhuji, we discussed the range of yoga ladder, starting from the Karma Kand to all the way to Mukunda, how to get liberation.
Very nice. The rungs of yoga ladder, step by step, right? Step by step, we move forward in our life and in the. We cannot just artificially imitate. Anyone else remembers what we discussed?
If we eat transcendental prasad, it will purify our soul.
Very nice. The prasadam will not just purify the body, it's not just good for the body, but it will purify the soul. So thank you for sharing those wonderful comments. So let's start. Yes, Mataji, you want to share?
Oh, yes, Prabhuji. Something that I found very personal to me when I listened to the last lecture was that Krishna gives us what we need, not what we want. It was it rung really true to my heart. There are things in my life that I didn't understand why it happened, but it is what I needed, and Lord Krishna saw that. So it meant a lot to me too. That subject came up last time.
Thank you. That's so true. Because he's like a loving father who knows what's best for us, rather than just, a child maybe have tooth problem and was asked, oh, give me chocolate, I want chocolate, I want chocolate, I want this, I want that. But a loving father would not give, because the child does not need that at that point. It's a very nice point. So here, one thing which is mentioned in the text number 14 purport, which we missed last time or due to time constraints, but I really want to bring that point up because we are all talking about vaccination these days, correct? Or immunization. So Prabhupada is mentioning here that about immunization actually. Okay. I have to figure out where Prabhupada mentions that. Yes, here. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually, not just materially. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to contaminations of the material nature. When there is an epidemic, quite relevant. An antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection, and one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. So very, very nice point here, that this corona epidemic or plague or this or that, so many epidemics have come and will come. It's not that this corona is the last epidemic for the humankind. But what is the real vaccine? People are wanting the vaccine for the corona, which is fine. We are not discouraging that. But what is the real vaccine for the material affection, in the sense for the disease of the material world? So much anger, envy, greed, all that is filled. So that we have to take this vaccination of Krishna Prasadam, Krishna's holy names, Bhagavad Gita, etc. That will protect us or immunize us. And it's 100% safe, no side effects, no, nothing can go wrong, only good will happen. Okay. So I really thought to touch on this point before we move on to the next verse. We read till text number 16, and now we were moving to a different topic. In chapter 3, the acronym to understand this is TREE, T-R-E-E. T stands for, first T stands for, anyone remembers? Yes, Vedi.
It stands for Dhyan.
Oh, I can't hear you. Anyone else wants to try? Yes, Avni?
It stands for Tyag or renunciation.
Yes, Tyag or renunciation. What is real renunciation? Is it just to give up home and just to go in the forest? What Arjuna thought, that's real renunciation. But real renunciation is not of the dress. By changing the dress, one does not become renounced, right? But it's how we address. We discussed that. Real renunciation is not about the dress, but it's how we address. In short, how we conduct our lives, how much attached we are to materialistic things. And then the R, the next 9 to 16th verse we discuss is the rungs of the different step by step. We keep moving. We have to take a long journey. It's not, the bhakti is not an overnight process. Okay, today I open Bhagavad Gita and tomorrow I become a pure devotee. That doesn't happen like that. Because our anarthas are very, very deep rooted from millions of lifetimes. It's not that, therefore this vaccination is required every day. It's not just I read Bhagavad Gita or open it once in a blue moon, once in a Janmashtami day, and my diseases will get cured. This vaccination we have to take every day. Every day honoring Krishna Prasad, every day reading Bhagavad Gita, every day chanting holy names. And it's not difficult. It's not that you will be the odd one out trying to follow this. There are millions and thousands and tens and thousands and millions who have done that in the past and who are presently doing this also. So all we have to do is set that as a priority. Then Krishna will make everything happen. And actually, one of, like today only I was reading this, and I want to kind of share, since you're talking about this topic. So I want to share with everyone this wonderful point of most of us are in the family life, right? We have family, friends, children, husband, wife, parents, etc. So we want to make family life happy, right? How many of you want to make family life happy? Yes, Ravi Prabhu. You're right. That's how it's kind of today. I'm trying to kind of... Yes, this is the formula for making family life happy. Let's see that wonderful formula, which Lord Krishna is telling in the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, who wants to read this, How to Make Family Life Happy? Anyone wants to read this? Just a short passage here and then we'll read Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Ravi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. 4 most important things for Grihastha. If one is in full Krishna consciousness, one can make his home very happy because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. Number 1, one need only chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Number 2, accept the remnants of foodstuff offered to Krishna. Number 3, have some discussion of books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Number 4, engage oneself in deity worship. These 4 things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. The family members can sit down morning and evening and chant together. If one can mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness, following these 4 principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life. Bhagavad Gita as it is, 13.8 to 12 purport. Compiled by Prabhuji, आपके द्वारा.
Thank you. So, this is the real formula for vaccination, right? Simple. Chanting of the holy names, accept some Krishna Prasad offered to the Lord, have some discussions of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and offer something to the deities, deity worship. And in that way, our home will be Vrindavan. It will be Vaikuntha, where no Kuntha can come, where no miseries can come, where no material diseases can come. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita. So very, very important. We're talking about the vaccination. Let's now begin. It's already, I don't know what time is it. It's already 24. So let's start with text 17. Yastavatma ratir eva syad atma triptascha manavaha atmani eva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate. Yes, Lakshya, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated
Satiated.
satiated for him, there is no duty. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Fully satiated means like, the word satisfaction. So that's where this is coming from. So in short, now the topic is changing. In the last few verses, we were talking about duty, attachment, detachment, etc. That how one must not give up, whimsically, not acting, how one must understand the interdependence. We discuss about the Vedas, the demigods, and the cycle of sacrifice one must offer. So basically, we discuss about Karma Kanda section in the last text number 10 to 16. And that's the rungs of the yoga ladder. Now, text 17 onwards, we talk about the next E, that is example. So in the following verses, we will be studying in this, the third acronym or the third letter of the acronym is E. The TREE is example. That means a person who understands that the goal of life is to please Krishna and who acts samsiddhir haritoshanam, who acts for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, who is self-realized. For that person, there is no duty. That person is above the moral, do's and don'ts. But yet, one acts to set the right example. And there is a very nice verse also in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Devarshi bhutat panirinam pitrinam naking karunayam ridim charajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. This is very, very important verse. Prabhupada quotes this in multiple times, so we can read this translation. Yes, Aradhana Mataji, you want to read?
O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods. Great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away, since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. One who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes, Shri Krishna, thank you so much. This is really wonderful. So in short, a person who is fully Krishna conscious, Prabhupada is mentioning, by being Krishna conscious, all the impious, all the bad things, all the impurities are instantly cleansed. An effect of thousands and thousands of yajna, many lifetime it takes. This is like a direct process. Bhakti yoga is a direct process, and we know so many examples. People who may be drug addicts and engaged in wrong things when Prabhupada came, they didn't go like, okay, this can't and that can't. They fully took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and the effect was by immediate cleansing. They became pure Vaishnavas in just no time practically. Such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. And that's what is self-realization, to realize who we are truly, what's a true self, that what's our eternal relationship. That's where the bhakti kind of begins with. What is my sambandha? What is my relationship with the Lord? And such a person is no longer interested in material things like wine, women, similar infatuations, which the whole world is running after these few things. Money, women, wine. People are drinking alcohol worth like thousands and thousands and tens and thousands of dollars. A beggar on the street may drink 10 rupee alcohol, if that exists, I don't know. And a sophisticated person on the in some big mansion may drink a $10,000 alcohol, right? But the point is the same. My wife was sharing one small news clipping, and I think I shared it here also. When this lockdown was going on in Delhi, one lady said, hey, and there was a big queue, 1 mile queue outside, not the temple, but the alcohol shop, the bar, the, what do you call it, theka. Why? Because everyone wants to stock up. If they stock up a little bit food and emergency supplies, it's understandable. If they stock prayers, it's understandable. But people are stocking up alcohol. Oh, and then they are saying that this is our real vaccination. This is our real remedy. This is our real medicine. This will protect us from all the influences of Maya. This is called ignorance. Just running after opposite sex, alcohol. But a self-realized person understands that life is short. So better I engage it in the right pursuits. And that is what we already discussed, the four main pillars: chanting the holy name, reading Bhagavad Gita, honoring Krishna Prasad, serving the deities, taking association of Vaishnavas. Let's see the next verse. Naiva tasya kriten artho na kriteneha kaschana na chasya sarvabhuteshu kaschid artha vyapashrayaha. Would someone want to read this one? Yashda Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So we already discussed this point that we have different rina, right? Rina means we owe them. The forefathers, the devas, rishis, other living entities. So many people have helped us, right? But one who waters the root, then automatically all the branches, trees, twigs, fruits, flowers are watered. It's not that we individually take drops of water with a dropper and give to individually leaves. That's not a best process. One who understands how this mechanism works. Oh, where is the source? If you feed the source, everything else goes up with the process. So similarly, watering the root is understanding our true self and understanding the life's goal is save and accept activities in Krishna. Karmani asya tasya devasya seva. Bhagavad Gita Mahatmya also. Eko shastram devaki putra Gita. Eko devo devaki putra eva. Ekas mantras tasya namani yani karmani ekam tasya devasya seva. Only one activity is the real. And this is like for a self-realized person. Everyone say, no, I'm so attached to this and that. Okay, step by step, keep moving. A Krishna consciousness man does not take shelter of any person, man, or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient to discharge all his obligation. In short, if Lord Hari is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. Mm-hmm. And if Lord Hari is not satisfied, what's the point of trying to satisfy anyone and everyone? Because we cannot. It's impossible, impractical, less intelligent. So, in short, the goal of human life is to Yasmin tushte jagat tushte. If Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. And if Krishna is not satisfied, then no one will be satisfied. And the famous example actually was just a few days back was Akshay Tritiya. I think 2 weeks back where the Chandan Yatra started on, and 10 days back, around one week back exactly. Yeah, last Friday, not yesterday. Last Friday was Akshay Tritiya. It was the day, I'll share a short story since you all like stories. Durvasa Muni, so Pandavas were in exile at that point, and to rub salt on the wounds of the Pandavas, Duryodhana sent Durvasa Muni and his 10,000 followers to the Pandavas, because he knew that where will he get all the resources, the food supplies to feed these 10,000 disciples of Durvasa Muni. And in that, Durvasa Muni will get agitated, and because he's Durvasa, the incarnation of Lord Shiva, so partial incarnation, and then he will curse them, and then I will enjoy that. Para dukkha sukhi, taking happiness in others' suffering. That is Duryodhana. But if Krishna is with us, everything is with us. And if Krishna is not on our side, nothing is on our side. In Pandavas are devotees, they had Krishna on their side. So what happened? Mata Draupadi, you may be knowing this story, that Mata Draupadi was given that transcendental pot named Akshay Patra, and that was also given on just like few days back on this day of Akshay Tritiya. Akshay means which does not perish, or this does not destroy. Shay means destruction. That means there is no end. And there are multiple stories in this regard. So the point was that, okay, Draupadi Mata had that pot. And the rule was if she has taken her meal, then then no more supplies for that day. Until that point, they can feed millions of people. It is Akshay Patra, it will keep producing. So Krishna came, and Draupadi Mata had taken the meal, and this Durvasa Muni was about to come. So they were all in anxiety. How will we serve? How will we feed to Durvasa Muni and his 10,000 followers? And then Krishna came, and on top of all that anxiety, Krishna said, I'm hungry. Give me something to eat. I'm hungry. And they were already having hunger problem. So how will we feed you? We called you because we are this hunger, the food shortage, and you're asking for food. So they had nothing. And Krishna said, there must be something. So there was a very tiny morsel of rice just stuck on that patra. And then Krishna took it. And guess what? All the 10,000 disciples of the Durvasa Muni and all the Durvasa Muni and family, and not the family, the entourage, were completely satisfied. This is the power of serving Krishna. So, in short, watering the root, that's the whole point. Tasmadasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi achran karma param apnoti purushaha. Yes. Vedi, you want to try?
Hare Krishna. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Very nice. So here we learn how should we act. That is without attachment. Without attachment to the fruitive results or karma kanda. Like I will do this and get that. The whole motive is to get that attachment, to get that result. But Krishna is teaching what's the difference between an attached worker and a detached worker. That's the whole theme of today's discussion. So we should act without attachment, and that's renunciation in short. That is real tyaga. Tyag does not mean to give up, and we have discussed this multiple times, that tyag does not mean to give up the dress, but to give up to develop that consciousness. And what does it really practically mean? How do we practically apply it? A person therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance without attachment to the real result of work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. Very practical. And that's what we have to try. It's not that easy to give up attachment to the result, but we'll have to make step by step. How? Under proper guidance. We discussed that point. Under an expert who can help us to make that spiritual progress, who has learned from his guru, like that. That's a disciplic parampara. And Prabhupada is making a very nice point here also. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reactions of good or evil work. So someone will say, well, what about the reactions? I think we already discussed this point, that loha lohe ko katte. Like iron is used to cut iron. A sharp object is used to take another sharp object. Let's say, sometimes the sole gets in the feet, the sharp object. You use another sharp object to take that sharp object out. But can anyone do it? Can any 5-year-old do it? No, you need an expert under guidance. So who understands how to use the sharp object to get the other sharp object out, you need a guidance. Otherwise, that sharp object can cause damage. One who misinterprets scriptures, right? So this is compared to akarma, to the right way of acting in life. But if one does not know how to use this karma, one will further get entangled, one will further damage, one will cause further havoc in one's life and another's life. Therefore, learning this science is basically art of doing work. So a Krishna consciousness person has no attachment for the result, but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activities, but is completely non-attached. Like Srila Prabhupada. They're very, very exemplary and extraordinary. People, saintly people, the general convention was they will not cross the ocean. But Prabhupada crossed the ocean multiple times. There was a Baba saying, "Oh, don't show me like that." There was notes lying around and he was taking his picture like this. No notes, no money, no dollar, no rupee. Prabhupada said, "No, you give me money. I will use it for Krishna consciousness." Prabhupada traveled in airplanes and the best of the cars and walking. He was occupied. Someday he would be just in a thatched hut, and someday he would be in a multi-million-dollar mansion. Someday he would be surrounded with thousands of disciples, and someday he would be just by himself. Someday, Krishna, like in the beginning days, he was having so many challenges in Jaladuta and heart attacks and life threats and stuff like that, but completely non-attached to material thing and attachment to Krishna. Vairagya, this word is used, Vairagya. Vairagya or Tyaga, Vairagya does not mean, there are two meanings. Raga means attachment. Vairagya means not attached. That's one meaning. But the other meaning is Vishishta Rag. Vishishta Rag is also Vairag. Vishishta Rag means special attachment. And that is attachment to Krishna. So special attachment to Krishna is real Vairagya, which Prabhupada showed. It's not that, oh, I'll do nothing. I'm not attached. I'll just sit quietly and just maybe, do my own bhakti. That is fine, but that is not our mission. It is not Prabhupada's mission. Prabhupada take all the risks and challenges to share Krishna consciousness. He could have stayed in Vrindavan and just do his own sadhana and bhajan, but then you and I would not have been sitting here talking about Bhagavad Gita, right? We could have been watching some movie in a theater on a Saturday or night or morning, whatever time. But what Prabhupada did is helping millions of souls and will continue to help. This is the real vaccination. This is the greatness of a great soul. This is real attachment to Krishna, real vairagya, and detachment to matter. Karmanabhi samsiddhim nasthita janakadayah lokasangrani vapis sampashyan kartum arhasi. Next one, anyone? Yes, Avni?
Kings such as Janaka attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Let's read the next one also, and then we'll cover these two. It's an important verse. All of them are important actually, but some are more important than others. Yadyadacharati shreshtas tattadevetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Yes, Shital Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So this is very, very important. So Lord Krishna is telling that you have to act because you are in a leadership position. Even though you may be fully Krishna conscious, you are not obligated to any duty, but yet you must act in the right way for educating the people in general. Because what will they say? Oh, look at our Kshatriya Raja, our great king. He went to forest. We can also go to forest. He left his duty of taking care of his family, his, he was in distress. He just went to forest, and I can also do that, right? So King Janaka, because Janaka is also one of the Mahajan. Janaka is actually a position. It's not the father of Mata Sita. They are the names, like titles, Janaka 1, 2, 3. They have specific names. It keeps going in the hierarchy. So these are the Mahajans. They show by their example. Prabhupada makes a beautiful point here. Although one is situated in Krishna consciousness and may not have any interest in the world, but he still acts to teach the people to live how to act. Very nice example. So this is very, very important because the world is looking for examples. It is said that I can't hear what you speak because your actions are speaking differently. It's not that we teach by our words, we teach by our actions. It is also said that one should always preach and, if required, speak. That means we are always preaching by or teaching by our example, outreaching. People see the substance, and therefore, either in a good way or bad way, the examples have a very profound effect on us. Like if a teacher is telling, oh, the harmful effects of, let's say, non-vegetarianism or smoking, and the teacher goes outside after the class and then starts to smoke, guess what happens to all the 1 hour discourse? Right? Zero, right? You agree? So that's what happens in this day and age. There are hardly any good examples, therefore the whole masses are going in the wrong direction. So we are all leaders. How many of you agree that we are all leaders? We are all leaders. Okay, let's discuss this point because some of you don't agree, or some of your cameras are still off, you're still too shy. I don't know when will that day come when everyone will turn their cameras on. So we are all leaders, right? Can anyone share like who is a leader and how come we are all leaders? Can anyone share some thoughts there? Yes, Aparna Mataji, you want to say something?
When we respond to the bad things and stand up for good,
Okay.
that is needed, deliberately needed for a change.
Okay. Okay, that's good. My question is, who is a leader? Who is a leader? Anyone wants to say? Yes, Vedai or Shital Mataji?
Like an example, like someone on a team is like the team leader, and they take care of everybody, and they show like what they're supposed to do, and instead of like, and they do what they tell everybody what to do, and they do it themselves. They don't say something but not do it.
Are all leaders like that?
They should be.
They should be. So you give the definition of a good leader, kind of, right? So the leader is someone who has an impact on others. That's kind of the general definition. It could be an impact on one person. Someone may have impact on one person. Someone may have impact on 10 people, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 100 million, right? In different ambits, in their own way, they have different impacts, correct? You all agree with this definition? Whether they are a good way impact or a bad way impact, correct? But they have impact. Now, raise your hand if you think that we all have impact on someone. If you personally feel that you have an impact on just one person, it could be your friend, relative, mother, father, children, daughter, son, husband, wife, right? Most of your hands are up because we all have some impact on other. It could be one person. It doesn't need to be 10,000 people. So we are all leaders in some shape, way, or form. A student is also a leader. Let's say a Krishna conscious student. Although one may be studying Krishna consciousness, that does not mean that one has to give up one's material education. Why? To be a good leader, right? Otherwise, how will one share this message with others? People will think, oh, if I also become Krishna conscious, then I will also stop studying. In the heart, we understand, yes, Krishna consciousness is the real education, is the best practice. There's nothing more higher than that. This is the real goal of life. But one should conduct one's conditional duties in a very dutiful and good way, to the best of one's ability. Dutiful work one must not give up. Same with in a family life. Husband has different duties, wife has different duties, an employee has different duties, a teacher has different duty. We all have different duties. One must coordinate and continue to do those nicely because we are having an impact. And then people will say, hey, Avni, you're so good in your studies and you are so respectful to your parents and you have a very good lifestyle, you eat good food, you don't watch nonsense things, you're very respectful to your teachers, you are so kind to others, you're always so helpful to others. How do you manage all that? And Avni may have not spoken anything to anyone. She's not giving Bhagavad Gita pravachan in the school. But by her example, she is, and then it gives a chance for Avni to shift. This is my secret. Gaurgopal Prabhu, actually, Gaurgopal Prabhu, he was asked once, you inspired thousands and hundreds and thousands of people, millions of people, right? What is your secret? Who inspires you? And then he shared, my spiritual masters inspires me. Srila Prabhupada inspires me. Bhagavad Gita inspires me. Won't that lead to hundreds and thousands of people opening the pages of Bhagavad Gita? Absolutely. Won't that lead to people thinking, yes, I also want to be like that. I also want to be a great in my studies, great in my relationships, great in my I also want to teach my children this. So in every way, people will see. People will see and they'll naturally want to follow if we set a good example. On the flip side, His Holiness Bhaktidas Amrit Maharaj was sharing this story that one person, small person, in a village, you all like stories, right? he used to cut the electricity lines, forcefully. And every evening, he would cut the electricity because he was like a lineman, kind of. His job was to make sure the electricity line is running, and then what will happen? It will cause panic in the neighboring areas, and then people will come, hey, what's going on? When is electricity going to come? We are struggling, it's night time and we need to do our chores. And he'll said, okay, I'll fix it something, but to fix something is required to fix it, right? So so I have to fix it, so you fix me, it means give me something, some money, and I'll fix it. And then he will fix it. No one would know what's going on. He'll fix it after an hour. And then he became a hero also. Some people deliberately cause problems so they can be acknowledged as a hero. Whether it's at workplace, whether it's at, and then they will be, oh, look at that person. He's the one who fixed it, right? And practically every day, every other day, he was doing this intentionally to get more money. It's a kind of malpractice. And then suddenly, a new officer came and he kind of was investigating. People complain every day at this hour, line goes, and then someone has to go and get the situation fixed and give some money, and then situation is fixed. And then the officer did an investigation and said, what's going on? And then he found the root cause. The root cause is this person is intentionally, deliberately kind of cheating, right? There was no genuine problem. It's not like a storm came and the electricity was down or some damage happened. It was just he would intentionally do that wrong thing and just fix it an hour later. And then he was asked, why do you do all that? Why are you cheating? Why are you taking these bribes and stuff? He said, what's wrong? Look at our minister. He did 10,000 crore rupees of ghapla. He took, 10,000 crore. I'm just doing 100, 200 rupees. What's the big deal? Was he right or wrong? He was wrong in one way, but he was right in the other way. If the leaders are showing this example, how can the praja be expected to do the right thing? Because the general masses may not have that high intelligence, may not have that high sense of duty. But if the leader is great, then the whole consciousness rubs off on that community, on that family, on that everything. Whether it's father or mother or class teacher, we all have some responsibility. We are all in some way or form leaders. So it's a good examples are also there, bad examples are also there. George Harrison, Beatles, you may have heard. He said, Prabhupada, I want to renounce. I want to, just wear orange dress. On his birthday, he would get 6 truckloads of greeting cards. 6 truckloads. Can you imagine how many followers, fame he had at that time, like 50 years back, approximately 40 years back, 40, 50 years back, yeah. Truckloads of greeting. Not like one or two. Ordinary person will not get one or two, or maybe a few messages here and there. So he said, Prabhupada, I want to just be in Vrindavan, wear the orange robes and give up all this. He said, no. Krishna has given you some talent. You use it in Krishna's service. So being in that, he had the power to influence millions of people. And then he wrote songs on Hare Krishna. And millions got to the process of bhakti. Oh, the famous singer of Beatles is doing Hare Krishna. I'll also do Hare Krishna. Prabhupada used the same formula. Indians are blindly imitating the Westerners, right? Even now also, in the past also, right? Prabhupada used, okay, I will bring my dancing white elephants. And then Prabhupada tried to preach Krishna consciousness in India. But Indians were busy. No, money is good. No, yoga, this is good, that's good. When American people came in the Indian continent, and when they started to practice Hare Krishna and said, oh, we should also take Hare Krishna. These are our thing. And then these people are so happy, right? And happy example is the best example. A happy family is the best family. Not just putting pictures on Facebook, on Instagram, and inside shallow. A lot of people put so-called happy pictures on Facebook, and it just causes more envy and friction in the society. A truly happy person, does not need to prove himself or prove to others that I'm happy. It's like, I don't have to prove, if I've eaten food, I don't have to give a certificate to Ravi Prabhu. Yes, I'm my hunger is quenched. It's internal. Pratyakshavāgamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyayam. This is Bhagavad Gita. Not by how many comments or likes or fans we have on Facebook or YouTube. Our satisfaction has to come from within. And therefore, if the satisfaction has to come from outside, people with millions of followers also are committing suicide. Correct? There are so many examples in this scenario. Famous actors, actresses, Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars. Some, what do you call the counselors, material world, they're counselors or psychiatrists, they also commit suicide. Why? Lack of substance inside, just going outside. The point here is again and again, the same point we're talking about is be the example. Be the example. Be the change you want to be. It's not by words. It's by example. It's by character. Everyone is leading in some shape or form. So we have to, because same with our the kids don't learn through what the parents say. The kids learn through what the parents do. So very, very relevant points here. Therefore, we must act in the best possible way to set the right example. And then our circle of influence will also increase. Someone will say, well, I don't influence more than 5 people. It is fine. It's like a chain reaction. Those 5 will influence 5 more. It's multiplies. Those 25 will influence 5 more. It becomes 125. In that way, the whole world will be Krishna conscious. Okay. Name parthashti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. Okay, would someone want to read this one? Yes, Vinita.
O son of Vritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Hare Krishna.
Now the Supreme Lord is telling, thank you, that there is nothing for him. He's the absolute Samrat, Abhigya Swarat. Whatever he does is transcendental. Yet he, in Krishna book, there's a chapter called the daily routine of Krishna. How he gets up, what he does, meditates upon his own self. Very nice. Now, we cannot just blindly copy paste that. If someone wants to try, okay, try the Govardhan Leela. Lift the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights. Okay, forget about Govardhan Leela. Just lift this book, not just with your little finger, with your hand, just raise it up and lift it for 7 hours only. Can anyone do that? If anyone can do that, then we'll talk further. 7 hours straight. What to speak of 7 hours? We can't do for in 7 minutes, our hand will start to ache. So some things Krishna is showing that he's, because some people will say if he just shows the humanly pastime, some people will say, how is he God? So Krishna does multiple things, right, to teach. Some of his activities, even Brahmaji got confused, playing with his friends and eating their remnants, etc. So there is nothing prescribed for him, yet he acts to teach the masses because he's ultimately a leader. He's a supreme leader. Devo, Eko Devo, Tasya Devasya Seva. He's the supreme Lord. CEO of the company, the example is given. The CEO of the company also parks his car. He may not come every day. He may come at, let's say, 11 a.m. in the morning. Other people are expected to come at 8 a.m. Generally, he will come on time if he's coming. But someday he may come at 11 a.m. A less intelligent person will say, hey, find him, take some action, he's late, right? Do something about him. They'll complain to the HR. Not knowing, Are Baba, he's the CEO. He pays our salary. Correct? He may generally park in the right spot, but sometimes he may park anywhere he wants. He may do extraordinary things because he's the CEO. So that's the point. General rules don't follow to him, but he still acts according to those most of the times. Especially Lord Ram, right? He didn't have to make a bridge to kill Ravana. He didn't have to get the help of the monkeys to kill Ravana. He didn't have to, show the humanly pastimes, but he generally does that. Why? To set the example. Okay. Yadi hya aham na varteyam jatu karmani atandritaha nama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. Okay. Murali Prabhu, you want to read?
For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And some foolish people try that, right? Oh, Krishna had 16,000 wives, I'll have at least 5, 10. But if they are honest, they'll understand that it's not, one is sufficient. They'll understand that. Only a person who is not honest to oneself will try for that. Same with, Krishna dance with gopis. I like that part. But first you lift the Govardhan, first you kill the Putana, 18 mile long. So foolish people try to imitate that, not understanding who is the Supreme Lord. So we have to understand the supremacy of the Lord. Then only we'll be able to understand the sweetness of the Lord. Without understanding the Bhagavata, people try to, jump to the 10th canto. I want to hear about Rasa Leela. I don't want to hear about Kurma Avatar, Vara Avatar, Vaman Avatar. Why in the Bhagavatam in the 10th canto is kind of comes after the 9 cantos? First one has to understand the Bhagavata, the supremacy, that whom we are talking about is not an ordinary person. We are talking about the Param Brahma, Paradhama. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the source of all incarnations. He is the cause of all causes. And then so many incarnations. Then we can only try to relish the sweetness of the Lord. Utsideyur ime loka na kuryan karma chedaham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam ima prajaha. Yes, Athar.
If I do not perform prescribed duties, all of these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings.
Thank you, Dharv Prabhu. So we discussed this point again and again that if leaders act in a wrong way, then common people will be misled. And that's what is happening, right? In majority of these nations or even in family life, very rarely parents are following this, how to be a true parent, true mother, true father. The whole focus is on the wrong foundation, right? Because if one is not Krishna conscious oneself, one is not understanding these principles oneself, how can they be good examples for the children or the society? Same with the teachers, So it's not just, its parents' duty is not just to give food and clothes. A teacher's duty is not just to give math or science, but to give the best example. So in this, even the Supreme Lord, acts, although he does not need to. Lawmaker is beyond the law. That's an important point. Lawmaker, like for example, a police car. Even on the red light, the police car can go, correct? In an emergency, generally they will follow the law. It's not that every time they'll do. Generally, they will follow, correct? But in case of emergency, they will turn on their lights, everyone will stop, and they will go. Is that the standard protocol? So they are beyond the law. So no one can say, hey, it's red light. Hey, it was my turn. How can you hey, how are you over speeding? It says only 60, you're driving at 90. They can break the law. Generally they won't, but they can. Because they are the lawmakers. So even a perfect person should perform his duties. So even the Mahabhagavatas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, now does he need to chant? Does Prabhupada need to chant? They're always chanting, but yet to show the example, they will also chant on the japa beats. Like the Goswamis, etc. They will also chant on the japa beats, because people in Kali Yuga will say, hey, the Goswamis didn't chant on japa beats. Why should I chant on japa beats? A lot of people ask this question. I just chant in my mind. Right? Trying to not understand the proper mood, and one can lead to wrong conclusions. So it's very important to sakta karmani vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvamsa tatha shaktas jikrishur loka sangram ham. Yes, Sampada Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. A very nice verse which shares the difference between an attached worker and a detached worker. Ignorant people perform work to get the fruits. We discussed that point. Attachment. Their whole objective is in getting that. But a self-realized soul acts without attachment or with attachment to Krishna. So people can follow. People will naturally follow. It's not that they demand followership. A true leader does not demand followership. They command followership. There's a difference between that. Lord Ram didn't say, you all come after me, when he was going to the exile for 14 years. They naturally, out of their sweet free will, they said, without you, Ayodhya is forest. With you, forest is Ayodhya. We will come with you. That's a true leader. Lord Ram didn't have to give, like the so-called leaders, pay them money to be their followers, or pay them, in India, people, they give alcohol for the rallies. If you come to our rally, we'll give you alcohol, right? Are you aware of this? That's what happened. That's not a true leader. They don't demand followership. They don't demand respect. They command respect for the sake of leading people to the right path. So this is Krishna consciousness. This is the process of bhakti. Okay, one last verse for today. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshyet sarva karmani vidvam yukta samacharan. Okay, who hasn't read and wants to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Sure, please.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Translation. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men, attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is bhakti is not, encouraging us to stop the activity, but rather gradual development in Krishna consciousness. Very, very important point. And we will discuss this in the next class also in detail. But a person who is ignorant, there are two options now. Either we can say, hey, you are a fool, ignorant, you don't know what to do this, to do that, and you are fool number one, which may be correct, but will that have a good impact? No. It will probably disrupt the relationship also, and that person would never want to see the face of this person again. Correct? Prabhupada could have done that to the hippie followers. Hey, you are drug addicts. You are just, busy with enjoying wine and women. I don't want to be with you. Which would have been a true statement, at least the first part. But did Prabhupada do that? No. Prabhupada saw the spark that they may be whatever due to their circumstances and the association. But Prabhupada encouraged the tiny spark of bhakti they had. They wanted to serve Prabhupada. They wanted to help in some way or form. A learned person, a great example, engaged them in all sorts of activities. Prabhupada engaged everyone. A true leader engages, educates, engages, and empowers. Because all three are important. A true leader, we're talking about a true leader here. Training involves education, engagement, and empowerment. All are very, very important. Seeing the good in others, not seeing what they can't do, but seeing what they can do. Easier said than done. But if we just focus on the don'ts or hey, you can't do this, you can't, but rather than trying to encourage whatever service they can do, even if it's, everyone is different. No fingers are same. No two fingers are same. Similarly for parents, no two children are same. Even the twins are different. Why? They're different proclivities, different propensities. So the parents have to engage in their different ways. Not by comparing what the other person is doing or what the neighbor's child is doing, what's going on in the school. We all are different. We all have different propensities. We all have different abilities. So the point is to be the good example and gradually uplift. Some people will take it slowly. Some people will take it fast. Right? It's not that some people, they come to the path of bhakti and they chant 16 rounds in 16 weeks. Some people come to path of bhakti and they chant 16 rounds after 16 years. So there are a lot of factors in there. But we should not disturb. You should not say, hey, you are good for nothing. You should not. At least the point is share the positives and gradually uplift. Okay, let's take the last 10 minutes, maybe some thoughts, some questions, comments. Anyone has any additional reflections till text number 26 or what we have covered today in the last hour or so? Anyone wants to share something from anything inspired you? Reflection is something really struck you or you felt nice about that, or it was a revelation kind of thing. Anything from the heart which you found meaningful and want to share just as a reflection or kind of a recap? Anyone wants to share one or two reflection? You can unmute, raise your hand. We can also take one or two questions if anyone has. You can ask or write, whatever way works best for you. Anyone? Or is everyone too shy? Murali
In your
Prabhu?
eyes,
Yes, Parna Mataji, please.
in your eyes, what is the thin line between the two words, a teacher and a preacher?
Mhm. Teacher, I mean, see, the traditional words are guru, right? See, teacher is one who teaches something. It could be teaching anything, math, physics, science, etc. Like you teach social science, history, economics, and stuff, and you've been teaching that for decades now. That's exemplary. And preaching generally, is, or the word guru is used more for spiritual education. Guda Kesha. Gu means darkness, Ru means one who removes that. One who removes the darkness of ignorance is Guru. Sorry to say, in this day and age, people have used the word Guru literally, and they use it for, oh, he's a video game guru, right? He's a guru, he's an athletic guru, or he is a management guru, right? You've heard that word, management guru? Or they'll use, it's not the right usage of the word guru actually. Guru does not mean teaching. Guru means one who lives by the example. A teacher could be, let's say, teaching out of his or her job, teaching some subject because they may know that subject, but be a very bad example, right? They may be drunkards, they may be outside their school, college life, they may be not a good example. So yes, they may be able to impart the material education, correct? Whatever math, science they may be teaching, but they'll not impart good samskaras, good impressions on their followers, their children, the students, family members, etc. So I think rather than going in the technical jugglery of the words teacher or a preacher, because sometimes we use the word preaching, sometimes we use the word outreaching, but the word guru is the best. Not just giving the material education, but giving the good samskaras, the right value system. That is what is required, and which is done when we follow sincerely, and then we can share. Follow, first read, understand. These are the easy steps. Reading is fine. Understanding is also fine. Application. Put it into practice. A good Gita is, many people may have read it. Many people may have understood. Many people can speak about it. But very few people are able to practice. This is what is required. So anytime we read Bhagavad Gita, anytime we hear Bhagavad Gita or from our spiritual master or any even audio class, video class, we should try to practice those values, those whatever we learned today. We should try to practice that. Again, the Kali Yuga, the mind is such that we'll forget what we heard today. So if I ask you day after tomorrow what we heard, it will be very hard to recollect even 10% of what we discussed today. And after 2 weeks, 1%. That's what pretty much happens when I asked. It was so hard for most of us to recollect what we discussed last week, right? It's quite hard. But if we sincerely try to practice, then it will internalize that. It'll become our second nature. Practice, practice, practice. Practice is very important. Applying that principle. Does that help? Does that answer, or was it again off? Yes, Ravi Prabhu, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There's one question comes to my mind now. Like, we have so much deep knowledge of scriptures and the Shastra in the Gita that tells everything how a country should be. And still, like, now I'm just talking about the Bharat, like, so why the Maya or the other thing took over these scriptures? Like, was it the environment that was created by the Britisher, or was it the people just got influenced by the Maya so much that they just wanted the sense gratification? But this knowledge is there eternally, and it's still, like, why people are still running after the illusions, like the Maya of the whole thing. Like, what should we, like, I know there is a solution is that we should go back and read again and associate, but my thing is, like, why this in first place happened? I know we can't fix it what happened, but I'm just trying to think why it happened. Is it the environment that Britisher came and spoiled the whole heritage that we had, the ethos of culture?
Yeah, multiple factors, Prabhuji. See, nothing happens without the will of the Lord. There are multiple factors. First of all, Kali Yuga, degradation is supposed to happen. Whether X person became the factor or Y person became the factor, the Kali Yuga is the age of degradation. It is not Satya Yuga. So, and as the Kali Yuga is progressing, and we can see now also, what to speak of the pre-British era, certainly that was way better. But even now, even in a decade time, we see much generational gaps. Right? It's not that the situations which were 30 years back is the situation same. The level of God consciousness, the level of purity in food, purity in environment, purity in consciousness, 40 years back, 50 years back, is that the same now? Absolutely not. Even 30, 40 years back. Okay, we may say we may have made some airplanes and some mobile phones and iPhones and iPads and going to this and that, but we have caused more havoc to the outside and the inside environment more. So man wants to play God. Rather than being a puppet, which we will study in the next. We have to be a puppet in the hands of God rather than trying to play God. Trying to go to moon, what will we do there? Prabhupada said, what will we do? As if they have not caused enough harm here. So the point is, yes, the education system was broken to a great extent by the Britishers, and the education system is the foundation of a society. The foundation, the Sanskrit language, the scriptural studies, there were conversions are happening pretty much everywhere on the name of money and giving wine and women, etc. So it's a very pathetic situation. Therefore, we should not just read and hear and apply, but share also, or outreach or preach, whatever word you may want to use, teach. But first we have to internalize, read, understand, apply, and then be a good example and share also. Because be the change we want to be the change. We have to be good examples. So yeah, multiple factors, Prabhuji, but it's happening every day. It's not that it's just happened at one point. TV has caused, one devotee says, this coming of TV and media has caused more harm than the Britishers, actually. Right? The families are broken. Why? Because of media. This is like the Shurpanakha, tries to break the family. relationships are broken, divorces are so common, and so many bad things are so common. Why? Because of bad influences of media. Just some thoughts.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Any last comments, questions before we pause for today? Okay, so thank you again for taking out your valuable time on this day of Ekadashi. So we'll continue with the next verse, text 27 next time. And thank you again. Happy Ekadashi. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.